we need to thank all of you because it's a Sunday afternoon. We understand. So we will try to keep it as interactive, as fun as possible. We would like to thank MAMI for giving us this opportunity. Basically, what we are talking about is experience more than company, and we will try to explain you what it means. My name is Raj. I'm from Dolby. I look after the cinema business, and my colleague Bhaskar is the content lead for India and Middle East Africa. Yeah. So we will take you through this. Before we start, I think what is important to know is this is not a technical presentation. So what we will talk about is more of what value things bring to the table as far as Dolby is concerned, how we go about it. It's a much larger picture. So what happens is it is difficult to give you a gist of everything, but we will try our level best. And then if you have any questions, because it's a subject which is reasonably vast, so if you have any questions, we will be happy to answer. So that is the overall structure. Can we?
Yeah. So just wanted to say hi and a good afternoon to all of you. And
now, yeah. Dolby is into the business of, we say that we revolutionize the science of sight and sound. Now that's a very simple one-line statement, but if you start looking at how we actually go about it, then you will realize that it has the complete value that we offer to the market or the industry. We are primarily a technology company, and we are technology company, but we are technology company for entertainment. So we create tools that are used by the creative community to create content, and then that content, creating content is only a beginning of thing. If you are not able to do the complete chain, then that creation doesn't reach the audience that you want the content for. And when you look at that, it looks pretty simple, but it's something that you will find pretty elaborate work required to ensure that what the creative guys are making is actually reaching the intended audience. Because remember that when you do this, when you create a film, it has to go to the cinema, but it will also go to OTT, and people will see it on a mobile, and people will see it on television, which is a linear thing. When you create music, you will hear it on your headphones, but you will also hear it in your car, and so on and so forth. So once you start looking at the number of possibilities of this, then you will find that it is a very intricate end-to-end solution. And if you don't do that, then it will not necessarily give you the desired outcome. Now, when we say we revolutionize the science of sight and sound, basically Dolby was known as a company which was primarily into audio. Most of the people will remember Dolby for audio and cinema. Primarily, that is how Dolby started. But Dolby was more into how do I make that cinema or experience, entertainment experience, not just cinema but entertainment experience, more immersive, more enjoyable. How do I give that freedom to the creative community to ensure that they are able to tell stories in the way they want to do it? And how do I create an environment which is so immersive that people enjoy it more than probably what they would otherwise? So we will take you through that journey as far as Dolby is concerned shortly, so that you understand from where we come from. We will also talk about what are the elements of it, not necessarily in details, but just to give you an idea as to what we bring it to the table and what type of work we do. Because it is otherwise really impossible for you to even imagine what type of work is required. To give you a basic thing about what Dolby does at this point of time, so we were doing certain things in terms of audio, the noise cancellation and things like that. And when we went ahead with a new technology and we realized that we have something different, we created an environment where all these technologies can be enjoyed together. The focus is on ensuring that you create technologies and you bring it to the people in a manner that people can then enjoy the entertainment in the best possible way. So generally, this is what Dolby stands for, and how to do it profitably, but at the same time create a real win-win-win for all the stakeholders in the process. Now, when I'm saying that win-win-win for all the stakeholders, generally it doesn't work like that. But Dolby is probably one of those few unique companies which was able to actually bring it to the table. So we will show you how it helps the creative community, how it helps the community which actually takes the content on, all the intermediaries in between, how it helps the end guys, and then also it helps the consumer, because that's the primary idea as far as people need to enjoy. If you are creating a film in a particular way, you want people to enjoy that, and if you are not able to create that environment, then it is all waste, right? So it's that process that we are talking about. So I won't take more time. I think we will move forward.
Yeah. Okay. So I think Raj very.
So that you can just keep it.
So I think Raj very nicely introduced you to the whole, philosophy of what Dolby does and what we aim to achieve, or what we aim to bring, to the entire ecosystem of content creators, and the most importantly, the end user, the consumer, or the audience, in terms of benefiting from a great experience. We think that's the best experience that you can, have today. And all of this began, with audio only. And if you look at the things that Dolby has, contributed to, in the last few decades. So it all started with, Ray Dolby, the founder, working on noise reduction. And that was the first core technology that he developed. That was entirely focused on enhancing the music experience, because at that point of time, this was around 65, multi-track magnetic recording had just, started. And anybody who has experienced tape recording would know that, there is something called hiss noise, on tape. So that was a problem, and entire innovation, was started around solving that problem. So that was the beginning, and then from there, it just went beyond solving problems for people or for content creators, and taking it to a level where you could deliver better content creation and better content experience. And most of that happened in the cinema field. So all of Dolby's initial technologies or contributions were related to cinema. So Dolby was the first one to introduce surround sound in cinemas, and obviously, along with it, the noise reduction also played a huge role. So one innovation which it started with got kind of implemented in the next step when you also added something more in terms of a surround experience. And then this was all in the days of analog. So it was initially film, then slowly and gradually as we moved towards digital. So Dolby then came up with surround sound technology with digital audio, and that was something which was phenomenal because by then there was this whole transition that was happening where people had a much richer experience at home because they now had CD quality sound which they could experience, music and stuff, which was like pristine clear, but the cinematic experience was probably not as great. And to make that experience better, so Dolby introduced Dolby Digital Surround Sound, and that is how it continuously progressed, from one experience to the other, and making that experience better, with every new technology that was developed. And then that was early, 90s and then 2000, and then there was the advent of digital cinema, which again allowed Dolby to benefit from the format and take it beyond just the 6 channels of Dolby Digital Surround Sound that I think most of you would be familiar with. And today we have, the highest possible format of surround sound which you can experience not just in cinemas, but also, in homes, in living rooms, and also, on various other devices, including your PCs, laptops, mobiles, and on headphones. So it started from the cinematic content, it started from the cinema, and then gradually, we just, progressed with the technology to make it available in homes or, onto mobile devices as we mostly consume content today. And there were obviously, various different types of content. So it started with the cinema, and now today we are all so familiar with OTT content. Then with music, we came like a full circle. So like I mentioned that Dolby started everything with noise reduction, which was entirely music focused. And now, we have come full circle by introducing Dolby Atmos for music, which has become hugely popular. So all of that, and then most importantly, from being just an audio technology company, we also explored, how we could go beyond audio, because most entertainment is not only audio but audio visual. And that is where, our years of technological research and expertise was put to use. And we found that we could definitely, help improve the visuals as well. And that is where Dolby Vision was born. So we'll talk about these developments, in a little more detail as we progress. But let's look at the journey of Dolby Atmos, because the two core technologies that we have today is Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision. And Dolby Atmos, like I mentioned, it all started again in cinemas. And this was officially launched in CinemaCon in 2012. And the first Dolby Atmos movie that was released was a Disney Pixar creation called Brave. And this was in June 2012. So as you can see, we have, come a long way, more than a decade now with Dolby Atmos experience in the cinemas.
So, if you are, this box, I will use this. I think you can hear me directly as well. Dolby Atmos, when we were starting, you had surround sound and what more can be done. people went back to the creative community, asked them what is required, and they said, if you can give me the flexibility to place sound anywhere, and if you are able to give me the ability to move sound as per my requirement in the whole room, that is what we would like to do. And that is how we came with the concept of Dolby Atmos, which is primarily a sound format which is not necessarily channel based but object based. As you can understand from the naming nomenclature, that if it is a channel, it is fixed, object can move, and it allows you to place sound wherever you want to and move sound the way you want to. So for example, from the screen, if the bike goes out, the experience ends when the bike is out of the screen. However, if that bike goes from speaker to speaker in a manner where you feel that the bike just left from the screen but actually went past me, makes you feel that you are there. That's what Dolby Atmos does. Or you can place a bullet sound somewhere, and you can have a blast sound somewhere, and it should differentiate, right? A bullet will sound different than your blast. And just not that. I mean, if you are watching something with a, say, a garden, you are in the garden is what you are watching, and if you hear the air going around you, that's realism, or that is immersion, and that is what people can achieve and people are achieving when they are using the format as far as Dolby Atmos is concerned. In 2012, during CinemaCon, this was launched, which was introduced to in Vegas. This was introduced to the industry. So the philosophy at Dolby is two-pronged. One, you start with cinema because that's the most best Uber presentation as far as entertainment is concerned. You can't really replicate that on a mobile. You can't really replicate that on a home screen to a large extent. So, because the constraints of space, the constraints of hardware, and so on and so forth. Even the acoustic, because remember, acoustics plays a very important role in audio playback. We launched the first film, as he said, was Brave from Disney, which was in June 2012, and we are happy to say that we were able to bring the technology to India in the same year. So the first Dolby Atmos title was released in India in 2012 December, which was a re-release of a Tamil super hit movie called Shivaji the Boss, which was a superstar Rajnikant film. And then we have made great progress thanks to all the creative community. I mean, look at it like this, that Dolby is not a company which creates content. We bring tools to the table. People use those tools, those technologies to create something which is exceptional, great, and that is how this whole system works. So we are just the provider of technology. People have been really, really creative and nice, I would say. I mean, what you can see is worldwide, when you say there are 1900 titles, features released, out of that 950 features were released in India. So we are like creating half of their titles as far as Dolby is concerned. Or when we are saying that we have 950 plus screens in India, the scale is phenomenal from exhibition point of view, in the sense that we have 5,000, 5,500 DCI screens in India, out of which 950, which is almost 18%, is converted to Dolby Atmos playback. Having said that, worldwide you have something like, I think, little more than 6,100 that we are claiming. We are a typical conservative company. So you have something like 3%, 3.5% penetration worldwide, and India has given us a penetration of almost 18%. So the passion with which every single element has taken up this has resulted into people actually going for it be it the creative community or the exhibition community. We can go to the next, I guess. Please stop us if you find something not really, or you need anything, we need to clarify anything, because there are just too many things are around in this. If you look at the titles, we probably do something like 300 titles per year in India. And worldwide, of course, all the major Hollywood titles, major Chinese titles, all those things are being done in Atmos. So it's a continuous process now. It is more of a second nature as far as the creative community is concerned, who now thinks. So, I mean, why it is important is, remember that when you are shooting, you shoot in a particular manner thinking how you will place sound for that. Now, if you know that you have the ability to put the helicopter in the ceiling, you will make a scene accordingly where the helicopter will actually go. You will visually see it happening. So people are now using it, because after 10 years, people have got really understood the nuance of it, and they're really using it effectively. So, I mean, we are really thankful, because without the creative community's support, this would not have been possible. So we have all the 7 languages of Indian content which is coming on a regular basis, be it Marathi, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and so on and so forth, which is being done in Dolby Atmos. Bhaskar.
Okay, thanks. So you saw, I mean, how the cinematic, momentum has been. I mean, it's been more than a decade. And thanks to, the content creators that today, almost everybody knows what Dolby Atmos is when it means the cinematic experience or movies. In fact, I mean, we feel very proud that, we did a research worldwide to kind of see what is the Dolby brand name recognition, and whether Dolby Atmos, people are aware of, how aware are they about this Dolby Atmos. And it was found out that, the Indians have the highest, understanding or brand recall of Dolby Atmos. So that is actually quite interesting. And we feel proud about it. And obviously, I mean, like you saw in the slides earlier, that we produce pretty much half, the number of titles of movies, considering just one country, making almost more than 50% of the worldwide titles. So coming to home entertainment, so what is home entertainment? I mean, when we first launched Atmos in 2012, that was for cinemas, and within 3 years, we realized that people were also demanding a better experience, audiovisual experience in homes, because you had home theaters and televisions were becoming bigger, and you had flat panel screens coming in, bigger size screens coming in, and that's when we worked on bringing the format to the living room or to the homes. So in 2015, Dolby Atmos as a format was also available for homes, and we worked very closely with a lot of OEMs who manufacture home theater systems to enable that experience. So one is, and so we'll talk about the entire ecosystem, but just to give you an overall glimpse of how the home entertainment, that is anything outside of the cinema space, whether it is a living room experience or whether it is, enjoying your content on a PC, laptop, or on your mobile phones or tablets, or whether it's, the gaming experience that you have, your Xbox, PS5 and all of that, or even mobile games. So all of these kind of can be broadly brought under umbrella of home entertainment. And that is where, again, the cinematic content has a huge influence, because all those great movies that are mixed for theaters naturally, also flow into the home experience or into the home entertainment uh, category or platforms. And you can see that, a lot of those cinematic titles eventually also get onto the OTT platforms. So, and then obviously there are the episodics, the originals, and other than the acquired movies. And that momentum has been like growing pretty well. I mean, pretty fast actually. So, from COVID days, the home entertainment experience, all the OTT platforms have really, added the subscriber base and grown their subscriber base. And today, I mean, I don't have to tell. I mean, most of you will be watching a lot of content on your Netflix or Amazon, Disney Hotstar, and so that is, a reality. I mean, the movie is definitely one big experience, one of the better experiences, but Dolby's other philosophy is also, how can you deliver, the best possible experience in different listening environments or on different devices. I mean, cinematic experience is great, but a movie released in a cinema will be there for a week, maybe 2 weeks. If you want to watch that movie, if you have missed that movie, where will you go and watch it later? You won't find a theater where you can go and watch it later. You have to go to a OTT platform, and there it is forever. You can watch it when you have time. You can watch it multiple times if you want to, which may not have been possible with a movie experience. So, when it comes to the content, I mean, entire content creation, so Raj had mentioned in the very beginning that the way we Dolby work is not just develop a technology and put it out in the market, but we believe that the technology is successful only when we work with the entire ecosystem. And as you can see, how we look at that ecosystem is where it starts with the content creators. So we have on the extreme left, you have the content creation part of the ecosystem, and I think most of you would be part of that ecosystem. I mean, I believe most of you are filmmakers or content creators at some level, and that's where the magic starts. So we work very closely with all the creatives, and when the format was new, we actually had to, guide them, train them on what had to be done, what was the whole new Atmos concept, like what Raj mentioned. It's a completely different format of surround sound, which delivers the best possible immersive experience. Atmos also added the height dimension. It's a purely truly three-dimensional experience, which was not possible with 5.1 or 7.1 surround channel-based surrounds formats. So we work very closely with content creators, and then all that great content that is created has to somehow find a platform where it can be put on or can be delivered through, and that is where again it involves closely working with all those services. So you have all the services today, all the major services in India today, starting from Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Hotstar, Sony Live, Z5, Sun Next, Hoichoi. Some regional some of those are regional services, and we are working with many more. So all of these have been enabled today, and they have content already on the platform, which is available both in Atmos and Vision. So they form a very important part of the ecosystem. We work very closely to enable them to be able to deliver that great content that you have created, because if that platform does not allow, putting out that content to the, reaching that content to the end user, then the end user will not have that great experience.
Yeah, so just to add to this, what happens is the visible part of Dolby is probably when the content creation happens. People know that we are helping, supporting content creation. But the invisible part of Dolby's work is you work with every distribution company like Netflix is one example of that, but there are like hundreds of them. Everybody has a different type of setup to ensure that they are able to actually pass it through their system so that it reaches your device. When it reaches your device, which can be a television set, or which can be your mobile or whatever you are using, a AVR or whatever, then the work is with the guys who are manufacturers of television sets or manufacturers of AVR or manufacturers of all these devices, including mobile, to ensure that they use the chip which will actually be able to give that experience to you, and then enabling that. And just enabling doesn't solve the problem, because what happens is at the end of it, if you have enabled it, how it is translating also needs to be seen. I have enabled it, but if it doesn't work, then I have to find as a company why, and then go back and check where the mistake has happened and correct that. To imagine that hundreds of devices, thousands of devices, hundreds of distribution channels to deliver the content, and all that ecosystem need to work seamlessly, and that is the work Dolby does. So that is how we are able to ensure that you get the experience that you desire as far as the entertainment content is concerned. So it's a end to end. The way we do it in cinema, we do it in your home, we do it in all aspects of entertainment industry.
So it's very unique. I mean, Dolby in that sense is a very, very unique company. I don't think any other technology company, works in this way, working so closely through the entire ecosystem, starting from the content creators, and all the way to the end user, and ensuring that, you get the best possible experience, and that as a content creator, you're able to preserve your artistic intent, across every possible, experience platform. So that is how, the home entertainment ecosystem works, and in that we cover pretty much AV content for, OTT, music, episodics, and it can be any kind of content. The other important piece of content that has really, benefited in the last couple of years is music. I mean, like I said, the entire Dolby story started with in the music arena, but then we mostly were working in the AV entertainment. So for cinema, and then for, television or for home AV content. Not much had been done for a long time on the music front. And for decades, what we have experienced in terms of music has always been stereo. So it means it was always just a two-channel experience. Whether you listened on headphones, whether you listened on a music system, it was always stereo. And with Atmos, we could now deliver a very, very rich, immersive experience for music-only content as well. And this has really picked up very well, because most of you would be familiar with the word spatial audio, or with Apple Music. So these are more commonly known terms, which basically is the same as, Atmos for music. And in India, I mean, we have a lot of traction on Atmos music, not just global momentum on the music front. And we have all the top artists now who really, subscribe to the fact that, Atmos helps enrich the listening experience of the music content, and takes it to the next level. What happens with immersive experiences is that you're able to draw in your audience into the storytelling or into the music. So with music, with Atmos, you feel that, the entire band is actually, playing right in front of you. That's the kind of experience you almost, are able to achieve or, feel. So it really is a complete new, different experience. And once you hear it, it may be extremely difficult to, explain it in words. But once you hear it, you know what it feels like, and it is extremely difficult to go back and listen to the regular stereo music. And this is not me saying, this is not Dolby saying, but all the artists who have, uh, released their music and songs in Atmos, they come back and they tell us that it is something that they had not experienced before, and now it kind of brings out the soul of their music. That's how they feel it is, and that is.
So it's very interesting that how you do it, because if you want to create music as a concert, right, so you will create it in a particular manner. But if you want to talk to your audience directly on his headphone, you can move the person as if you are doing it one person concert. You get the point? You can place the sound the way you want in that 360-degree around the person when you are mixing music. And that ability allows the musician to create an experience which will be different for different application. So the vocals can come in front of you, your music can go around you, and everything then changes as far as the experience goes. So these type of things were not available before. And with the new application that we are doing in terms of how you play it, it really becomes interesting for people. It's a new field currently, but we see it as something that people enjoy immensely. So another way of using, so look at it like this, that we started with something which was noise cancellation, but then we went to surround sound. From surround sound we went to Dolby Atmos, and then we are doing the application of Dolby Atmos in a manner which is changing the consumption or how you enjoy that whole thing as far as a consumer is concerned. There is more to this story in terms of how it pans out. We will see that.
So music is another big application area where Atmos has really helped. But another interesting genre of content which is now gaining a more popularity is podcasts. I don't know if a lot of you might be regularly listening to podcasts. So podcast is a very interesting content type, because podcast is pure audio. You don't have any visuals to refer to or to be tied down to, and it's pure audio storytelling. So imagine what you visualize in terms of the soundscape, when you're creating a piece of content. If that can, sound, with full three-dimensional, space, it gives you a much more realistic experience, and much more immersive experience. So podcast is one area where it is getting very, very popular. And I'll just briefly mention that, other than Apple Music, which is probably the most popularly known music service, we have Ghana, Hangama, and Wink. All these Indian music streaming services also enabled for Atmos, and a lot of these also carry podcast content today. So that's another interesting. Music and podcast is very new. It's relatively new, a few years. And this is the overall Atmos content momentum. We've been talking about the audio and the Atmos. So this is the momentum in India. This is, as you can see, we have over 950 movie titles that have been released till date, and more than 250, episodic content on all the major platforms. And then there are, lot of music and song titles which have already been, mixed in Atmos. And most interestingly, the value of, Atmos music has come out very clearly, because now people are also going back and looking at the catalog titles, that is songs which were all the hits from, say, your 70s, 80s, 90s. At that point of time there was no Atmos, everything was mixed in stereo. But the music labels are going back and recreating those songs again in Atmos, because audiences have clearly, felt that in Atmos you have a much better experience. So that's a growing trend, that people are going back and also converting the catalog music to Atmos, which is a very strong value proposition of Atmos music. So T-Series, YRF, they're all working on, converting all the catalog content, or at least most of the popular, pieces of songs into Atmos. And then there are podcast services. So Earshot was the first podcast service that was offering Dolby Atmos content. And then we have Times of India, Mirchi, Awaaz. So these are all, the reason we mention these names is because people are not even aware, that all these services today offer, the very rich immersive experience of both music or podcast content. And then lastly, very briefly talk about mobile gaming, because this is something that we managed to pull off in the last year. Mobile gaming is very popular, but the 3 mobile games that were, enabled for Atmos. Why is that, piece of content interesting? Because are there any avid gamers here? Maybe not. But anybody who plays games knows that it's very, very important to have a sense of what's happening, not just in front of you, but what's happening around you, to be able to react to your next move, what it should be. And that is where immersive audio really helps gaming or gamers. So that is how different genres of content are, now benefiting from, the Atmos technology. And the momentum of the device adoption, that is also important, because as content creators you might create very compelling content, but unless we have the necessary devices in the market, the consumer or the end user, the audience, will not be able to, experience that. So we work very closely and we make sure that, more and more device manufacturers implement, Dolby technologies in the devices. And you can see how phenomenal that growth has been. So there are millions of devices in the market today. There are televisions, there are sound bars, AVRs, mobile devices, you name it. PCs and laptops. Every piece of equipment that you would probably look at consuming some kind of content today is enabled with Atmos. And this is something which is very, very new and probably will be very exciting as well. So I remember, when we used to work very closely with content creators, especially music mix engineers, long back, they would mix a piece of music in the studio, and after having, satisfied themselves that the mix is sounding great on the studio monitors, they would immediately, make a copy of that on a tape, and they would rush to the car, parked outside the studio, and put the tape in the music system and listen to it. And if it sounded great on that car audio system, then they would sign it off saying that yes, now everything is fine, which basically, means that, your car audio experience has always been very important. And today it's more important because people have less and less time when to listen to music at any other place, be it in home or somewhere else. So most of the people today are listening to music either when they are in the car or when they are moving, that is when they're traveling. They will be listening on headphone, but car is a very, very important, space to experience music, and that is where now we have a full Atmos solution. There are multiple, car manufacturers which have globally launched their various car models with Dolby Atmos. And as you can see, if you were listening to stereo music in cars, it was very, very two-dimensional. And with Atmos, now you can actually, fill up that entire space in the car, and you can feel that widened music stage, and you can hear that full envelope of, various things moving around, the music elements. So it makes it a very, very rich experience. And very soon, Mahindra has already announced that they will be launching their EV, the new range of EVs with Dolby Atmos enabled. And so, when they launch the new cars, you would probably, be able to experience that as well. So that is the entire story on the Dolby Atmos side, where we were talking about how audio can be, made more interesting, and not just in cinemas, but also in homes, also on your, mobile devices and on your gaming consoles, and then your automobile experience or in-car experience. Let's quickly also talk about...
Before we start, probably any question on audio? Please.
I just want to say that, what I miss is everything mainstream you're talking about. Okay? But we made a huge effort in putting our short documentaries on Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision. I think you need to recognize that. And Karan knows.
Of course. No. In fact, yeah. Of course. Of course.
Yes.
You have to encourage documentaries, because what we do is, most of the feature films are all background scores and this and that, so it's very easy to sit in a studio. But we pick up live sound, pick up a lot of live sound, and then do a lot of Dolby mix of folk soundtracks. And that's much more rich and more unique. So I think please recognize as part of your presentation. It should be good.
No. In fact, probably you won't remember, but I have met you. Definitely. We do support in a big way, because you will find that we even make the facility available if somebody is doing the non-commercial film. And that has been the focus. I agree with you. No, this was more from, so if you, I think you came little late. The idea of today's presentation was we are not talking technical. What we are talking is how it makes a difference to the industry as a whole in terms of creative intent, how you distribute, how we support, and how everyone wins in the process. So, point well taken. I won't deny what you are saying. It's an important element. In fact, one of the documentaries that is playing in MAMI was also supported by Dolby for, doing it in the format, etc. So, your point is taken. So, we are with you. Any other question?
We're actually doing hundreds of films with Dolby Mix.
I'm aware.
Yes, and we are very happy about that.
No,
your point...
I would say we are thankful for that.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know, maybe, we don't really differentiate between what content can benefit from, Dolby technologies. In fact, that was the idea of, trying to say that, every possible content that, content creators create, whether it's movies, whether it's any other AV content. So, yeah, specific mention of documentary was probably, missing.
Important is, as an audience, as a consumer, we want to give a rich experience in a non-fiction space. It shouldn't look like mainstream commercial gives them great sound and document. They get excited to listen to these soundtracks.
Absolutely. I mean, I think thanks to OTT platforms, earlier, documentaries would find very limited release or reach. So, I mean, thanks to OTT platforms, now you have a lot of documentary stuff that people can actually experience or actually even watch. People used to make a lot of documentaries. I don't know how many people ended up seeing it. And I mean, since you pointed out about Atmos for documentaries or Vision for documentary, that matters. So, I mean, we feel very proud that this year in the Oscar, the Elephant Whisperer, which won an Oscar, was mixed in Atmos and was graded in Dolby Vision. So,
right.
I mean, that just says how much people love the technology and how much it helps content creators to bring out their piece of content in a much more, whatever, in a more compelling, manner. So coming to that Dolby Vision story. So what is, I mean, I don't think many of you would probably be aware of Dolby Vision. I mean, if you know, you can raise a hand, otherwise, obviously. So, like we have, Dolby Atmos, which is the best possible way to experience audio. So, Dolby Vision, like I said a while back, that we wanted to do something on the visual side as well. So, how to improve the visual experience. And today, you have mobile phones, today you have TVs that are far, far more advanced than even 5 years back. And all of these devices, are actually, capable of displaying extremely high quality visuals. When I say that, what I mean is that the devices today are capable of reproducing, extremely vivid colors. They are capable of displaying extremely bright visuals as compared to our older technology of televisions or other devices.
Just one point. What happens is you typically look at a picture, you see it and you understand it is a picture. And why you understand is because your eye's ability is far more than what the device can show you. That's the reason you identify a picture as a picture. Now, what we are trying to do is we are trying to make technology which will enhance the ability of that display device, whether it is a projector, whether it is a mobile device or whatever, as close as possible to your eye's ability so that the differentiation goes away to the possible extent. We are still not there in terms of what we could probably do, because there is still gap between our eye's ability and what we can deliver. But this is a technology which gives you a contrast which is really, really high as compared to what it was before. Colors are far more vivid, more reds, more grays, and more, things like that. And then, of course, the contrast and this put together with brightness, because the hardware is now capable, gives you a picture which really stands out. And that is what Dolby Vision is for you. And the way we look at this is, again, what we did with Atmos, which is go from start to finish. So that's the story. We will complete quickly. I think we are taking much more time.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, Dolby Vision is what we say is, the best possible flavor of HDR, which is probably more commonly known to you all. So, high dynamic range visuals. And it all started with, improving the overall visual experience and how you can deliver lifelike pictures or images on the screen, whether that was the big screen, whether that was the TV in your living room, whether it was your mobile device. So we have the technology for every possible viewing experience today. Let's look at the momentum. I mean, a lot of movie content and other AV content has already been created in Dolby Vision. So you can see the numbers. So globally, we have Dolby Vision enabled cinemas, which we call Dolby Cinema, where you have Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos as a premium offering. So audio and visual are both, the premium offering. In India, we do not yet have that today. But outside of the movie space, then on OTT platforms, we have a lot of other content that comes in. So movie titles, episodic content, and all of this is growing. And like I mentioned, all the major OTT platforms today are enabled for both Atmos and Vision. And like you pointed out, sir, that thankfully now even documentaries are being made in both Atmos and Vision. So, and these are, some of the specific cinematic content that have been either released or announced in Dolby Vision. And let us look at, some more content that was mainly on the OTT platform. And in India, the Dolby Vision story started with and continues mainly on the home entertainment side, because like I said, the Dolby Cinema is still not available in India as of today. And although Netflix was the one that really kickstarted Dolby Vision content, they were the first ones, but all the other platforms today are enabled, and we have a lot of interesting content in Dolby Vision. What the content creators get most excited about Dolby Vision is, how they can show more detail in their images, especially when the images have more dark scenes. So that is where, it really shines out. With the older technology, all your dark scenes would look, like completely either black, or, dark gray with no details in that. And with Dolby Vision, you can see so much more detail in your images. And this also helps to, give a very rich experience even on the smaller screens where your real estate space is, very, very less. But because of the clarity, the contrast and the colors, the richness of the colors, you can see all the details in that image much more better. So let us look at again, how we work through the ecosystem. It's very similar to how we work on the Dolby Atmos side. So I won't repeat myself. So we believe that, working with the content creators is very, very important. We enable them, we train them, because vision is relatively new. And then we also work with the platform partners and then with OEMs to make sure that that content is, delivered in the best possible way to the end user. Okay, so we had a very brief summary of, discussion on the Dolby Atmos and Vision experience and how we can, leverage, how as content creators you can leverage the technology to enhance your storytelling, enhance your content. Most importantly, when you create your content in Atmos and Vision today, you make sure that, it is kind of future-proof, because today whatever goes, into cinemas and then onto the OTT platforms will be there forever. And we don't know what changes might come up in future, but what we believe is the way we have created these formats, the technology, it can lend itself to future development. And today, if you have created the content in Atmos and Vision, tomorrow, whatever new developments happen, either devices improve, the capability improves, but it will be able to benefit from, a very, very, pristine content format which you have created. So, very briefly, I'll just summarize how we look at content creation. So, you can, create content like Balasa said, any piece of content can benefit from, using Dolby technologies. And whether it is premium movie content that is shown in cinemas, or it is content that goes onto OTT platforms, or it is music and podcasts, whether it's gaming content, everywhere you will find that, Dolby technology can help, enhance a piece of content, or, help you engage better with your audience, help you in your more compelling storytelling. So that is where we, really see the benefit. And we really like to thank, all the content creators, because without the support from the content creation community, and without the, adoption of the technology into the content creation process, all this would not have been possible. Our aim is to bring the best possible experiences to the end user. But so we create the technology, we create the tools, and we ensure that, the tools are, designed in a way that it's very simple to use. This is important because when you move from the older technology to, adopting Dolby Atmos or Vision, you don't have to really struggle. It's so simple that within, a very short time, you are able to figure out and master how to, benefit from creating content in Atmos and Vision. And because
I will just share a anecdotal thing. We started Atmos in 2012, and we were worried because the mix was to be released in like a week's time because of date was announced. As always, the things came in late, and we were trying to, scratching our heads as to, that's when I lost all my hairs. So basically, how will we do it? And to our surprise, the mix engineer in Chennai, where we started this first, the lady started in the morning and was able to do it by afternoon without any problem. Of course, it was still very crude because it was not, she was still learning, but it was not, it was intuitive. So the way we try to do things is it should help people do it seamlessly, whether it is enhancement of audio is concerned or enhancement of video is concerned. So that has been the philosophy of Dolby.
Yeah, you're almost done. We can talk about this.
Yeah. move on. So we are really thankful because we, as I said before, we are the one who actually bring only tools to the table. They are used by the creative community, and when they use it effectively, you get the magic. So we just take the benefit of it, and everybody else enjoys it. Different categories of devices. So we have discussed this. So it goes from gaming to mobiles to PCs and everything in between. So that's what we enable as a company. I think the most important part is what's in it for everyone, because you are not doing justice if it is not a win-win-win, as we call it in management jargon, for everyone. So what's in it for every stakeholder is, I think, very important in this. So from the creator's point of view, I think the freedom he gets to create what he wants to tell as a story is primary for him, which helps him tell the stories in a way which becomes more compelling, more immersive, more closer to the consumer. Having said that, monetization is an important aspect, and he can, when the content is better, obviously it helps him in monetizing it better. Things will overlap in that sense, but I mean, that is how it works. Compelling storytelling is definitely what you want to do, and then I think what Bhaskar also mentioned was about maintaining the content in the highest possible format is also something that every content creators want to do, because future you can, I mean, it's, you create content not for the week or for the month, but you create it forever. So it remains as your content forever, and you would like to definitely keep it in the best possible format. As far as monetization partners are concerned, but when I'm saying monetization partner is concerned, it can be a cinema where they will actually showcase it, but it can also be a service provider who will actually deliver it, or it can be a person or a company which is making the devices. So if you are making a mobile phone and it has the technology, you are monetizing it, you are actually making money out of it. Better monetization, definitely, because when the experience is better, Dolby Cinema will charge you 30-40% more as a ticket and people pay for it. When you have a mobile phone which has Dolby Vision enabled, you pay more for it. So it's a monetization mechanism as far as the people are concerned, or the partners are concerned. Of course, you will have better viewership. What we have seen is when the experience is compelling, you have better viewership, more eyeballs, more footfall, more people in the seat, which is a very important from the commercial point of view when the partners come into play. And I think one last thing is you can also monetize your catalog content better, which Bhaskar was talking about. So there is a win for all the monetization partner as far as using the technology is concerned. And I think consumer is the ultimate winner here, because what happens is you are getting a content experience. See, you want to be entertained, that is why you go there, right? And when you go there, if you have a compelling experience, then I think that is something that you really look forward to. You don't want a bad experience from the entertainment, because the primary aim is to be entertained. And I think in this process what we see is it's actually a win-win-win for everyone, including Dolby, that we have created an ecosystem which helps you use it effectively to make the product better for everyone, and everyone in this process actually benefits. So that's the whole story. I know we probably did not do a great job of giving you the full story, but we thought that this is what is critical for us to talk to you. So any questions? That is all for the afternoon or evening, I guess now.
Okay, so it's not a question, it's just an average. Lyrical experience, thematic experience. I can talk in Arabic,
Sure.
So there was this musical delight, Bajirao Mastani. I watched it twice in the theater.
Oh wow.
And I wouldn't want to come out of the theater because of your musical delight, musical excellence. And this lady next to me would say, Kicho, Kicho, and that's Dolby system. Maybe we can have it at home. And we had it that we could come as teacher and listen to the intricacies.
Thank you very much for being a valued customer to us. Thank you very much. No, I mean, in fact, I will just tell a story which is again anecdotal for me. I did a theater in Atmos in one of the remote places in India, and the theater owner used to call us, good friend, and say, yeah, the system is good, but okay, but I spent too much money and things like that, typical, and we were okay with that. And then I was in one of the service provider office, and I got to know that he is sitting in the next cabin, and I went there half fearing that he will again tell me that you pleased me, you made me spend so much money. And I enter there and he says, Raj, what a great system you have given me. I said, what is wrong with you now? So, and he's a very senior gentleman, so not that I said that. And I said, sir, I mean, what change? He says, up till now I was watching the film only in my theater. This time I came to Bombay, I thought I will see the same movie in another theater where they saw the movie, and then he says, now I know what I got. So you get used to it also. So I am with you as far as that is concerned. I have heard this. But thank you very much. Any other question, please? I'm not sure I understood. What do you mean by? So, I mean, no, so we do have our office system where you have all these things being installed so that it can be experienced, but not necessarily in a commercial environment. And just look at the amount of things that we have done across in terms of the type of systems available. I think it is very omnipresent as far as getting that experience. I mean, we keep doing it with, say, the service providers, like, say, we will work with LG to ensure that their experience centers are done right, and we will do it with Samsung, and we will do it with everyone, including Apple and all. So we keep doing that, but if you ask me whether we have a place permanently, not really. My office is very much there, so I mean, there we can always do that. Anything else, sir? Thank you. So, I mean, I will just take half a minute more. I would like to thank MAMI for this opportunity. Thank you all for spending your evening with us and listening to us and supporting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.